Hello, everyone. This is Roomies Review the Movies, and I am Lindsay.
I'm Maria.
And today we are discussing Scarface.
Yes.
Um, and before we get into it, I would like to tell you guys where you can reach us. You can reach us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Amazon Music. And also, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And when you follow us on Twitter, you will catch our raw initial reactions to the movie because we do tweet when it's our first time watching the movie.
Yes.
So, being that this is one of my favorite movies, it was Maria's turn to live tweet. So, but I did come dressed festive for the occasion. I'm going to
She did.
show you.
Show them the swag, Lindsay. Show them the
Yes,
Scarface swag.
yes. Look at my
Now,
jacket. My jacket. Yes.
Lindsay and I were college roommates in
Yes.
college, which is how we're here today. She
Yes.
had that jacket back then.
Yes. It was my
So,
Christmas present
when did you
from
get
my
that
mom.
jacket?
I got it that Christmas from my mom
Oh
when I went back
wow!
home. Yep. Yep. We
And
went.
people have been trying to buy it off her ever since.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was ridiculous how many people tried to buy this jacket. And I was like, absolutely not. And all these years later, I'm not going to tell y'all how many years later, but all these years later, I still have it. And
Mhm.
it's still not for sale. So, so hold on. Let me do a couple of things first because we want
Yeah.
to let everybody know that we're live.
We're live and we're here. While you're here, go ahead and subscribe. Follow us on all your social media so you can stay up to date with what movies we haven't seen, which might shock you, considering that Lindsay studied film and then I was a film critic for like a long time. But there are lots of movies that we haven't seen that you might have expected for us to see. Uh,
Right.
so this time we're giving those movies a chance. Like previously, I hadn't seen Romeo Must Die, and then Lindsay hadn't seen Little Mermaid, Princess Bride. I hadn't seen Belly or Class Act, so we switch off every week to you know, catch up on those things we lost somehow skipped over in our youth.
Yes. Yes. And it's so funny because like with you being a film critic and me getting a degree in film, there are a lot of movies that people feel are staples that
Yeah,
we should have seen, and absolutely not. Didn't even care to see them. Didn't need to get a degree in film to see them. So, so this is like the best opportunity, especially with our grown 2022 eyes
yes,
watching these movies and being able to discuss them, especially given the fact that people are just now starting to get back into the movies. You
right,
know what I'm saying? Starting to get
yeah,
back into theaters and whatnot. So this is a great opportunity to revisit some movies that we feel are classics and then watch new movies that we've never seen. So and
yes.
open up our eyes to something different.
Yeah, and just see
So
how the landscape of film has changed, even
right.
in that short amount of time.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's a great opportunity for the both of us. So um yeah, so we are discussing 1983's Scarface, and obviously,
Scarface. It's
right,
the remake
obviously
of
with my
Scarface.
attire,
You know, it's
this is my
a
very
remake
one
of
of
the
my favorites.
1932 film of Scarface.
Yes,
Um,
which is a good film as
1983
well.
was the year I was born, so of
Yeah.
course I didn't get to see it. And
Yeah.
my parents are pretty strict on what I could watch as a kid, so Scarface was not going to be one of those
Right,
that I was
right,
going to
right.
get to watch. Um, but we kind of lost you there, Lindsay. I can't hear you.
Oh, oh wait, hold on. Hold on.
You might have muted yourself on accident.
Okay.
There you are.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, honestly, I didn't
And now I cannot hear you. It's
yeah,
gone now.
it's gone again. Oh, great. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. I don't know what's going on.
So we're just being plagued by technical difficulties today, you guys. We're
Can
gonna.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so honestly when the first time I ever heard of this movie, I was in 7th grade.
Mhm.
And it was from I think a history teacher. She
Oh,
for
really?
yeah, for some reason she brought up Scarface, and she was telling us how the reaction was when we were when it came out, and how so many people deemed it as it being a very violent film.
Yeah.
And she said, and if you watched it then, which was in the 90s, it's laughable. So, but I didn't actually watch it until I was like 18 because my brother had it.
Oh, see, you have that older sibling connection.
Yeah, yeah. So I had went over his house one day and I saw he had it and I was like, OMG. I remember hearing about this when I was in middle school. And he was like, yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. Take it home, watch it. So I watched it, and the first time I watched it, it was late at night, so I fell asleep. So when I so when I
How did you
actually
fall
watched,
asleep on Scarface? Oh my goodness.
well, it starts slow. It does
Yeah,
start,
I guess so. I guess so.
yeah, yeah, it does start a bit slow. So yeah, I fell asleep. Then the next day, I woke up and watched it and instantly fell in love. Like I got it. I understood why everybody loves this movie so much.
Mhm.
So yeah, so the movie stars Al Pacino. It also has Michelle Pfeiffer. This was like her first
Yeah,
movie.
it's her first big role. I was
Yeah.
like, is that Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah, yeah. So and then who else does it have? It has a few other people as well. Let me pull up the cast. It has Stephen Bauer, uh
Of course, Pacino.
yeah, a bunch of other people that probably don't know their names. But it was written, it was directed by Brian De Palma, and it was written by what's his name? Oliver Stone.
Yes.
And what the basis of the story is, they were political refugees from Cuba. And so it's just a basic coming up from literally nothing because they had to flee Cuba, and
Yeah,
they
because you
were,
had the communist revolution
yes,
with Fidel Castro. So a lot of people were fleeing Cuba by boat, coming to Miami because it's a short trip by boat to join other family members or just to escape what was going on in Cuba at the time.
yes, yes. So so they came over, they had to deal with the foolishness that was over here in specifically Miami, because this is based in Miami. So um with it being in Miami, and they had these different places that they were placing some of the refugees, and so they put them in pretty much like a all men tent city that was on a
Yeah.
side of the town. And
It's like underneath these highway overpasses and
yes,
everything. It's like it's not a place anybody really wants to live.
right, right, and they were literally living under like tents. They weren't even like full tents. They were just like, oh, it's about to rain, let me put a tent up.
Tarp.
Yeah,
Right.
tarp, exactly. With a line of porta potties, and it was just all men, and that's where they dumped them. So
What do they call it? They called it Freedom Town.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So they was there for about a month, and Manny, which Scarface name is Tony,
Yeah.
and his right hand
Tony
is
Montana.
right, and his right hand is Manny.
Yes.
And Manny has run across some people that wants them to do a job. There's this man that was under was working under Fidel Castro, and he tortured and killed a lot of people in the beginning of his ruling. And so he got
And like he was
ousted.
a lawyer, but he was out here torturing and killing people
Yeah,
personally.
right, right. Like he
Because
was
at
doing a
first I
lot.
was a little confused. I was like, maybe he had worked for some people or something. And that's why they wanted him dead. But no, he was doing it.
No, he was doing it. Yeah. So he got ousted, and well, he went to jail, and then he got ousted, and he ended up in Miami, and they put him in Freedom Town. And so they knew he was coming. So these people promised uh Tony and Manny a job and their green card if they were going ahead and do this bid. So they they said that they'll do, like, they was like, we'll kill communists for fun, for
Yeah.
free, you know.
Right.
But yeah, but this one in particular, we'll carve them up real good. So um so yeah, so they
Uh,
did, they had an uprising,
yeah.
and they went
Because
on.
you're in these squalid ass conditions, I'm not surprised people are
Right.
gonna not put up with it, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it definitely made sense that this occurred. So um during the uprising, they they figured this would be the best time to go on ahead and cancel his contract, which is what they did. So
Your services are no longer necessary.
you're right, we're
We're so
done,
sorry.
we're good, yeah. So so yeah, so they went on ahead and killed him, and the people made good on their promise, and they went on ahead and got them their green card and got them a job. Then while they're working this job, they was working pretty much like a little taco stand or whatever.
Yeah, like a
Eh,
little, yeah, a sandwich shop or
sandwich
something like that.
sandwich shop, yeah. So they're working the sandwich shop. Of course, don't nobody want to do that. And they probably did that for probably like a month. Then Manny came up with another situation that could get them some more money. So when they
More
talked to the
money.
guy, when they talked to the guy about it or whatever, him and Tony have a conversation, and Tony's like, I wanna get in. I don't want to just do a job. I want to get in. Like, let me go on ahead and make this run.
Right.
So dude was like, all right, well, if you want to make the run and it goes successful, we can talk about some bigger business.
Because he was at first he was talking about $500. I was like, no way,
Absolutely not.
absolutely
Right.
not.
Right.
I
I
know
don't
it's
know
supposed
what
to be
kind of
like
food.
1981, but no.
Right. Back then, absolutely not. And that's like $2 now, you know?
Right.
So but but yeah, so it's four of them that go, and I forgot I forgot the fourth guy, but it was Chi Chi, Manny, Tony, and then there was a fourth guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
So Tony and the fourth guy, they well, all four of them go to the job. Manny
Yeah,
and Chi Chi
they're
stayed
supposed
in
to
a
pick
car.
up they're supposed to pick up a couple of kilos
Yes, a couple of
from
kilos
this dude.
kilos in there. So they're basically doing a drug transaction. And Manning and Chi Chi stay in the car, and they're like, if anything happens in 15 minutes, come in and get us. So they go in. The man is acting real nervous, trying to make small talk. Come to find
Right.
out, he claims that he don't have the kilos on him. Well, Tony tells him he ain't got the money on him. So, do you want to start over, or
Oh
what
yeah.
we
Oh
about
yeah.
to
I mean the
do?
kilos around the corner. Oh yeah, the money's in the car. You know, whatever.
Right. So next thing you know, because the fourth guy, this is a hotel. So he's standing outside the door of the hotel room. So with him standing outside the door, there's somebody that's coming up the stairs behind him with a gun. So he comes up the stairs, grabs his hair, pushes him in the room. Then everybody pulls out their guns. They pull out their gun before Tony could get to his. So now they got them both tied up in the bathroom. And the main guy then pulled out a chainsaw. So when he opens up the suitcase, we see that he had the kilos all along
And
next
it
to
was
the
only two
chainsaw.
kilos. It was
It was only
two
2 kilos.
kilos.
Right. That's why it feels like it was a setup. So
it was just like all this for 2 kilos. Oh my God.
right, right.
I
That's
mean, because
why I feel like it was a setup.
I was doing like after I watched the movie, I do what I usually do. I go through like a bunch of YouTube reviews and stuff like that, reactions,
Hmm.
whatever. You find a lot of people have information like behind the scenes and things like that. So when it
Hmm.
came to this particular scene, like the movie was apparently so violent they wanted to give it an X rating.
Yeah,
Um, but they made little cuts here and there to preserve the R rating. And it was this scene in particular where
yeah,
they did some cutting to try and preserve their R rating. And apparently, what goes down with this chainsaw, the guy cutting him up in the bathroom, is something that actually happened in some of these drug cases that they were researching for the film.
yeah. If you really look and see what all like it entails with this movie, they did do a lot of research, to try to make it
Yeah.
as unique to the story as possible. But yeah. And then the killer part about it is that if you actually watch the film closely, you will see that we do not see any body parts being cut up.
No, you don't see. Once he takes out the chainsaw, you don't see that man ever again. You don't see
Right.
any part of him ever again.
Exactly.
You don't even hear him screaming.
No.
Um,
You
all
see
you
his
see
eyes
is
get real big and that's
yeah,
it. Like everything is implied. So
very
for
implied.
every right, so for everybody to be like, "Oh, this is such a violent movie, this, that, and the third," it's like, are y'all really paying attention to what you're seeing? Because you're not
I
seeing
mean,
anything.
at the time, right? I mean, at the time, I'm sure they had. I mean, especially before the cuts, right?
Hmm.
I'm sure it was much more graphic. But
Oh
even
yeah,
as it was at the time, it was still pretty graphic. Um,
yeah,
The
right.
1932 original even had some issues with that, but
Yes,
because it was kind of before all these different codes and stuff like
yes,
that, they were able to get away with it.
yes. I've
Uh,
actually used the 1932 version in a presentation I did in one of my film classes dealing with lighting, because you're absolutely correct. You're right on the money. There was this scene in the 1932 version. Now, the 1932 version deals with Italians
hmm
and the
Yeah, it's
mob.
all Al Capone and liquor and stuff, right?
Right, right. So there's a scene in the movie where they line up these mobsters and they just shoot them down execution style. However, you don't even see the mobsters. What you see is a brick wall and you see shadows. And when they tell them to line up or whatever and put their hands up, you see all their hands go up. And then you don't even see the gun. You just see the bullets hitting the brick wall. And then you see the shadows fall down. So I use that in my presentation for lighting. But
Yeah.
yeah, but you
No.
don't, again, it's implied. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Like you don't actually see bodies. But that was very violent in its time. And they shot that down just like they shot down the 83 version. So yeah. But yeah, you definitely was right on the money with that. Um, what else? So
Oh yeah,
so
I mean the whole thing with they get the 2 kilos, the guy gets chopped up with the chainsaw, and Tony's seeing it all. He's like, fortunately, he's behind the shower curtain, so he doesn't get splattered.
mhm. Right.
Uh, and his guys run up, they see everything's going on, there's a shootout, you know, and then you get this scene which is like just so crazy where it's him, it's Tony and the dude who's supposed to be running the deal, like in the middle of the street, and
Yes.
Tony just shoots him down. I was
Yes.
oof, okay.
Yes. So yeah, so what ends up happening in that scene also was Manny and Chi Chi, they were outside in the car, and they was Manny was messing with some girls. That's his
Manny
weakness.
is always messing with girls.
Yeah, that's his weakness right there. So he was messing with some girls. Then the girl, like he was doing too much, so the girl walked off. So then that's when he was like, "Okay, it's that time. We need to go ahead and go upstairs." So Chi Chi goes around on the side. Manny goes upstairs. Manny shoots the place up. So and that's how Tony got saved. So then Tony and the guy that was still holding him in the bathroom, they have a fight, and then he gets the gun and shoots him. But one of the guys that Manny thought that he was shooting, that he killed, wasn't dead. So when Manny was looking into the bathroom, the dude shot him and it went straight through, thank goodness. So it
Mm-hmm.
was a clean shot. So yeah, so by this time Chi Chi then came upstairs. So Chi Chi's now helping Manny on the floor. And so there's so many quotable scenes in this movie, or quotes in this movie, but one of them is the Chi Chi get the yayo, and then they show the yayo on the ground. So he goes downstairs, like the guy with the chainsaw, he didn't went through walls trying to get away. He didn't went through a window that he thought that he could walk through, but he ends up falling down a flight of stairs. So now he's like, he's shot up. He didn't fell through some windows. So now he's trying to get away. But Tony is following him. Now, everybody that's on the main level that are on the street, they're like screaming ridiculously, but
Screaming. Yeah.
nobody's leaving for real. Like
They're still standing around like
they're
watching.
just there, right? So I kind of understand, but I kind of don't, because I'm like,
Well, I
when
mean,
you
they filmed some of this like in actually in Miami, so there were people who were just there to be
right,
there to watch the film go down. So I think that might have been what was happening.
right. But I mean, they could have got some extras to be like, okay, y'all start running.
Run, right?
But yeah, so they weren't running, but they was just sitting around like, ah. Um, so yeah, so Tony comes down. Now, mind you, there's sirens going off. There are people that were at restaurants sitting out, just sitting there minding their own business. And he literally shoots this man in the head in broad daylight in the middle of the street.
In the middle of Miami.
Yes, in Miami, in South Beach. So then he gets in a convertible. Then the convertible is like 15 feet long, so he can barely maneuver
And
it.
like 15 years old.
Yes. So then he turns it around so he can be on the other side. So by this time, Manny and Chi Chi then came down, so they're getting in the car. Now he's
They
still
got their
trying to
getaway.
maneuver it to not hit no other cars, even though we hear sirens and they're getting louder. So he takes off. So yeah, so they end up finding a payphone. They call the connect dude, and they tell him, this shit was fucked up, but we got the money and we got the yayo, and I'm
Yeah.
taking it to the
Yeah, they
head
got
boss.
both. Omar. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
dude they were dealing with.
yeah, Omar. So he's
Mhm.
like, I'm taking it to the head boss. I'm not going like after this
I'm
stuff.
not going through you. After all of this, I'm going
Right,
straight to the cafe.
right. Like you got me messed up, and my friend blood on this money. Nah, I'm not fooling with you no more.
No. I just
So
watched my friend get sliced up in front of me.
okay, and
Like,
I didn't fold, because I was thinking about it, because I've watched it twice, like these last couple of days. I watched it twice, and I was thinking, you know, what could he have actually done, like to
nothing
try to save
really.
his life? But right,
Right.
there was no way that he could, like, because had he be like, okay, stop, I'll go get the money, then he got everybody's dead at that point. You know what I'm saying? So there was really nothing that he could do to save his life. So is what it
Yeah.
is. Just
That
pour
would have
out
been
some
enough
liquor
for me
for
though.
him.
I'd been like, oh, this is not the life for me. I don't want anything this badly. Like
Yes,
I don't think,
but we're
ooh.
thinking of it. We're thinking of it in an American light. They are
Yeah, I mean,
refugees. They have nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying?
but their lives. I would like to keep my limbs all together, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. You know, what
I,
just
I
that's just
totally
the
get it.
minimum. That's just the
Right,
minimum.
right, right,
Like,
right. I totally get it, and I agree. However, the way they looking at it, they have nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying?
and Tony is nothing but a big ball of ambition.
Yes, yes.
Like, um, This movie is really excellent, and particularly, of course, so much has to do with Pacino's performance because Tony as a character is not very sympathetic for me at all. Like I don't like him. He's unlikable to me.
Really?
Yes. Like he's got this he's I feel like once he and Elvira get married, like and she's like, "You're so boring. All you ever do is talk about money." I was like, "Yes." He's
Well, yeah, he did get to that point. Yeah.
but before that even he's just it's all about his ambition. He's interesting, but
Mhm.
he's not likable to me.
Yeah.
Because we go on from there, and then when he catches up with his family, with his little sister Gina and everything, he's very like oddly obsessed with her sexuality and trying to
Yeah.
control that
Yeah.
aspect of her. Even though he gives her like $1,000 and is like, go and have fun. So that's what she does. But he's like, no, not like that. It is
Yeah.
it's I
Uh,
was really glad the movie did not drop that because there's a lot of films where you have like tropes, right? Tropes are really popular, right? So you have that kind of trope of like the controlling older brother with his baby sister, the
yeah.
controlling husband, with his trophy wife or whatever. But they actually do something with those tropes, which is what really helps it stand out and make it different
Yes.
from
Yes.
a lot of similar films.
Yes. Yes. And it's so funny because when I was reading your tweets, I was like, she definitely picked up on that at all, which a lot of people do pick up on because it was borderline incestuous.
Yeah, I was getting some
You know,
Lannister vibes. Like,
yeah, yeah, because it was like it was a bit too far with the controlling,
hmm
which some some parts of it he was right on the money. You know what I'm saying? Like with the
yeah,
whole thing with them being in the club,
yeah.
and
He's like,
he was
I
right on the
get
money.
right. I get him not wanting him. Not I get him not wanting to have her like around all the drug dealers and everything. Because he knows exactly how dangerous it can be. And
Right.
then also, she was talking to Manny later, and she was like, "Well, I was having fun or whatever." And he was like, "In the bathroom, girl." Like,
Right.
I was like, "That is a good point." But at the same time, it is too much. He's like obsessed with this idea of purity for
Hmm.
her, and
Yeah.
it's a little skeevy, man. I'm glad they did not drop that.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, basically that's he goes and meets the big man, which is Lopez.
Frank.
And yeah, Frank Lopez. And then he meets Elvira, which is played by Michelle Pfeiffer.
hmm
And for him it's just love at first sight.
She's
Uh
gorgeous. She's absolutely
yeah,
beautiful.
yes, absolutely. Like you that's one thing you cannot take away from Michelle Pfeiffer. She is
No.
breathtaking,
hmm
So so they all go out to the club and they're having good times or whatnot. And then Michelle's like, not Michelle, Elvira is like, I want to dance. Frank doesn't want to dance. So then she asks Tony. Frank says it's okay. So he gets up and he dances with her and whatnot. And Michelle, not Michelle, Elvira, Elvira, is she's special. She is not in the building for him
No,
at all.
she
Uh,
never really is.
but she never was with Frank either.
Yeah, no, we don't really. Yeah, we don't really see that from Frank either. And it just seems like life is just she's just letting like things happen to her,
Hmm.
right? There's no up until she actually leaves Tony. Everything is just kind of happening to her. She
Yeah,
doesn't really make any decisions. Like
yeah.
Tony's like, "Well, let's get married and have children." And she's just like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Girl, do you care anything about this?"
Right. The only thing she really cared about was her coke.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that she was engaged in that she cared about. Like
I
if
mean,
she didn't,
I guess even that. I mean, like it just seemed like she was. They did not give her much of a personality at all.
they didn't. They
You
didn't.
know,
But
it's one thing to like be addicted and like you're like, well, this stuff is just happening, right?
Hmm.
It's another thing to like have like no personality.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
and it's crazy. It's just crazy how just like it would be a good idea if we can get some type of backstory or origin story or something like that
Hmm.
for her. Like I would really like to see how she got herself into this position because you're in you're you're the head honcho's girlfriend and you don't want to be there.
Not at
Like you can
all.
care less about nothing that's going on around you, you know? And then the one that takes his place, you end up being with them. And you literally could care
Feel
less.
unhappy. They're
Right.
all, yeah, that's one thing that this movie does. It's like even though a lot of the elements are were later glorified, you know,
Hmm.
but it really does show you like this is not fun. Like this is
Yeah.
not what you want to do. None of
Right.
these people are happy.
Right.
None of them are really getting things that would satisfy them in their life.
Right. 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 Um, so yeah, so we move on to I forgot what else happened. What
Well,
happened
you know,
after?
he's Tony's getting in with Frank and everything, and then he goes to Bolivia to meet
Yes.
Sosa with Omar, and
Yes.
they're talking about a deal or whatever. And then Omar's not too into it, but he's like, I gotta check with the boss. So they're like, okay, well, you can go back to Miami. We'll keep him here, and we're gonna talk some more, whatever. And Sosa claims that Omar is actually a police informant, and he has him hung from a helicopter,
Yeah.
which is just like that shocked me because I was like,
Did it?
"There's no way to anticipate that at all."
Yeah.
Um, and
What shocked me was that they actually did it. Like I saw the rope, but
I mean,
them
I
actually
just would
doing
never
it.
have thought, "Oh, they're gonna hang him from a helicopter." Like,
Right, right, right. Right. Now whoever came up with that idea was dope.
that
That
is
was a
sick.
dope
That is a
scene. Yeah.
sick idea.
Yeah. Like not even going front. That was a pretty slick idea. But yeah. Um now you say claim. So do
Mhm.
you believe that he was an informant?
I don't know. You know, it's never really confirmed one way or another,
Hmm.
because Tony totally buys it. In part because he blames Omar for Angel's death, the guy who got chopped up.
Yes.
Um, but when he goes back to talk to Frank about what happened and like the deal and all that kind of stuff, Frank is like, "Why did you believe him? What proof did he have?" And I was like, "That's
But
not a bad point."
no, it's a great point, but in the same breath, what would be the reason for him to kill him?
I don't
And
know,
what would be
right?
the reason to lie about killing him?
Right.
Because it's Sosa. Like, it's Sosa. Sosa ain't got to lie to nobody about nothing.
Yeah, and I feel like Sosa is kind of a guy who's like, I'm not trying to get a lot of violence going on. Like I'm not trying to bring too much attention.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
so science point two, he was most likely correct, but we don't really get any kind of confirmation one way or another,
Yeah.
right? I was a little surprised he didn't say, "Oh yeah, we found such and such, and here's the picture or whatever
Mm-mm.
of him talking to the police or something."
Yeah, because I feel like, again, it's Sosa. He ain't got to lay out nothing.
Hmm.
I'm killing this man. And this is why I'm killing this man. And you're
Yeah.
lucky I didn't kill you for coming with him. Like,
Well,
you
no,
know,
I think he liked Tony, so I
I
don't
think he
think
liked
that was going
Tony
to be
too.
too much of a problem.
And I
I think
feel like he
there was
knew,
definitely something with Omar, like their relationship was
yeah,
not that smooth. But
but I feel like he knew that Omar wouldn't be able to make the deal that he wanted to make, and Tony would. Like Tony
yeah,
was able to see the
Tony
vision.
was like going in for the deal,
Yeah,
and Omar was like, "Nah, I got to talk to the boss,"
right.
which is honestly the right thing to do
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
you don't have the authority to make these decisions, Tony.
Right, right. And you just got in. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I feel like Tony understood what the deal was and
Mhm.
how big of an opportunity it was.
Oh, I'm sure, but it was
And
Tony's ambition again.
yeah,
that he's leading with his ambition, that's getting him into further trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a gift and a curse, you know.
Yes. Hmm.
It's definitely a gift and a curse, but I think Sosa saw that as well, you know. And he was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna deal with you. I don't have nothing saying that you're this, that, or third.
Right.
But this motherfucker over here, oh,
He
he
gotta
gotta
go.
go. He gotta go.
I'm done with him. His
Yeah,
his contract was not renewed.
no, not at all. It
No,
did
it
end.
was canceled.
Thank you for your services. So yeah. So then we move on to them going back, or Tony going back to Miami to tell them
Hmm.
what went on. And like you said, Lopez did question it, but then what he was upset about was the deal.
Yeah,
He was
Tony's making moves without approval.
right, and he felt like that was too big of a deal for him to fulfill his side of the contract.
Hmm.
And Tony was just like, I'll go out on the street for you if it gets that deep, but I feel like we can do this,
Yeah,
you know.
but
So,
the other thing about Frank is like, oh, he's like, we can totally use a dude like Tony.
hmm,
Like, he'll do whatever we say.
right, right, because that's what he thought initially, you know. But now that he's seeing that ain't the king, so he's getting a little upset about that,
Yeah.
you know, because it's a good thing to have a person like Tony like that on your payroll, but it's also a bad thing because at one point y'all gonna bump heads and he gonna try to take you out and you got to
Hmm.
try to take him out first.
That ambition is bigger than both of y'all. That's basically what
Hmm.
it is. And then
Right.
we get to the scene in the nightclub, right?
Hmm.
And Tony's talking to this cop who's like, "Hey, you pay me. I'll make sure you stay. You know, we'll stay away from you. He's like, I've got killers with badges." And I was like, "Oh Lord."
Right. And he
And
tried to throw up that whole hotel scene. He tried to throw
yes,
up that whole situation in his face.
and
So
also it looked like he was drinking milk at the at the disco. I was like, "What is he? Is that milk?" Like,
it was either milk or a white Russian, one of the two.
it
Like,
was too smooth. I was like, "What is going on?"
yeah,
And then Tony's like thinking over that deal or whatever. And then there comes this guy who's like singing Frank Sinatra in this mask, in this really weird, creepy paper mache mask that's supposed to look like Frank Sinatra, but absolutely does not look
no,
anything like Frank Sinatra.
it was like an exaggerated caricature, which is
Yeah,
like 20 on 10. You know,
it was nightmare fuel. I was, oh.
yeah. If I was Frank at the time, I would have been offended. Like y'all could have just
Yes.
called me. Like I was available. I would have been in the movie.
Right?
Like damn. Like
Y'all couldn't get a lookalike from Vegas? Like, come
right.
on.
Something. Like damn. Like what is this? What is this shit? So yeah. Yeah. So I would have been offended. But it was random. It was weird.
It's
That doesn't
very
normally
odd.
happen in a club,
I was like,
but
is that a thing people used to do? Is this what you do when you can't
not
do
that I'm aware of.
blackface? Like, what is happening?
Right. What is this Italian face? Like
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
It was
Right.
very odd.
It was
I was glad
extremely
when the
odd.
shooting started because I was like, oh, that's over. Like,
That's so funny because I guess because I'm so used to the movie, I'm just used to that part. But when I saw your tweet about it, I cracked up. I was like, yeah, that is pretty freaking weird.
yeah, I had to
Yeah.
take some clips because I was like, this is like I've never seen anything like that
Yeah.
before.
Right. Right. In this serious ass movie, then all of a sudden we got this um
Clown. I don't
right,
know
this
what
Chuck
is
E. Cheese
happening.
character. Like, what are we doing? so yeah, so the shooting happens. Um yeah, because like tensions were rising between Lopez and Tony, and Tony was high, but he still was alert enough to know that something was going to happen. He didn't know exactly what, but he knew something was going to happen. So yeah, so the shooting happens. Lopez had killers all over that place, and they was all gunning for him. But he got up out that
Somehow they
mug.
all missed him.
Yeah, Right. He too fast for him. That's all.
Star
Cause
Wars
he,
rules.
yeah. So he got up out that mug.
And like you can't even really blame Frank. Tony's over here hitting on his woman. Tony's
hmm
over here trying to muscle in on his business, telling him how to do business.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so yeah. So we don't see a scene where he puts two and two together, but we see the scene after two and two is put together.
Mm-hmm.
And so he sets up a phone call to be made to Lopez to let him know, like, hey, we didn't get him. So he goes to Lopez Motors and he confronts Lopez about trying to kill him. So Lopez at first is playing along. Oh, what happened to you? What's
Right.
going
We'll
on?
get him. We'll get him. You know.
Yeah. So, Tony went along with it for a couple seconds, then just told him, cut the shit. Like, I know that
Yeah.
it was you. Like, stop it. So then, well, if you ever seen a grown man win,
Grovel on his knees, crying
really,
and begging.
right? Offering money, offering Elvira, he offered
Mhm.
everything. He'll go away. You'll never see him again.
Right. Just
Nah,
let me get my money and I'll leave. You know.
right? Nah,
Please. Nah.
you just tried to kill me. Do you really think I'm going to trust you to go on ahead and give me this money, give me your girl, and burn
Right.
out? Nah,
Like you
we
won't
got
do it again.
right. We gotta go on ahead and end your contract too. So so yeah, so he's on the floor, grabbing at his pant legs and crying and all this type of stuff. And so Tony's like, I'm not gonna kill you. Chi Chi kill him. So Chi Chi
Hmm.
killed him. So then the cop is sitting there just unbothered. He just know that he was gonna walk out of there unscathed.
Right. And he's you can't shoot a cop.
Right. The fuck? Like you can get touched in here too. So he got touched by them bullets. So
Although he did not do all that groveling.
no, he didn't.
Not at
He
all.
his last words were "fuck you." So
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Oh boy.
yeah,
And then Tony becomes the Hefe, he's marries Elvira for whatever reason. I mean, like, he's attracted to her, but she does not seem into him at all. Like, not at all.
not in the least.
She
Not
doesn't
in the
even seem
least.
like curious or intrigued. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, this is what has to happen, basically.
Right, right. I feel like he did like her, but I also feel like that's what he thought being successful was.
Oh yeah, no, Elvira was completely a status symbol,
Yes,
a trophy wife. She's
absolutely.
blonde, green eyed, white woman. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, yeah. So he
If I'm supposed to be successful in this game, that's what I need to show that I'm successful. It
right,
doesn't really have anything to do with who she is as a person,
not at all, not at all. So
whoever that would be, because
right,
they don't let us know. So
right, right. So it was um it was sort of like a contractual thing, and then
yes.
again, like we talked about
Like
before.
it's like you get the car, you get the house, and the girl. Like it all
Yeah,
comes together. It's a
it,
4 for 4 or something. Like
right, right, right. And so, like we talked about earlier, she just goes with the flow. She falls into these situations, you know. She doesn't really take hold of her life until the end.
no, no.
So yeah. So we have this big old montage of him, you know, coming up in the world and him going through all this money and going to the bank and having them wash the money in the bank and him starting up all these companies, him getting married,
Shell
and
companies, yes.
yeah, all these shell companies. They had a realty company, they had a management company, they had his sister had a beauty salon, I'm
Yes,
sure
because
they
that was her
washed money
dream.
through
She
there.
actually wanted to,
Right, because
you
she was
know,
in school for it.
right.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah,
but
I'm
I'm
sure they
sure.
were washing money through there, like
Oh,
claws, you know.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, so yeah, and then the bank was washing the money for him too.
Mhm.
So then, yeah, we go through this long montage, which is one of the best montages I can say that I've seen ever.
Yeah, montages were just kind of creeping up in popularity at the time, so
Mhm.
it wasn't yet quite so tropey to have a montage in there.
Right, right. But sidebar. You ever seen Team America? Real
Yes, of
quick.
course I have that song. I'm at montage. We're gonna
Everybody
need a
needs a
montage.
montage. Right. Yeah, I that movie has ruined me for the Scarface montage because it's like they took it right from there
They
and
really
everything.
did.
So
But that
yeah,
just shows you how, impactful this movie has been.
yes, yes, absolutely. So yeah, so we get through the montage or whatever, and then we see Tony having a conversation with the banker and Manny, and the banker is basically increasing the percentage
Hmm.
on the money that he's washing for them, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. So they
Yeah,
haven't.
and see the thing is, Tony hears, "I want more money." But what the banker is telling him is, "We have to stay good with the IRS
Right, right,
because if anything is going to take you down, it's going to be the IRS."
exactly,
But Tony doesn't
exactly.
hear that.
Right, because he still is thinking with the street mindset. You know what I'm saying? He ain't really had to deal with government like that. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to keep them off your ass. So you got to kind of listen to what this man is telling you. Like he's on your side. You know what
Yes,
I mean? Now, one thing I did notice watching it now over the weekend was the words that people were choosing to use in this movie.
mm.
Because when Tony was like, I'll take my money over to the Bahamas, that banker was like, so you just gonna have some monkeys look over your money?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I
I
was
was like,
like, ooh.
"What? We're not even in this. What are you
Right.
doing?"
Like, what did I do? I ain't even did nothing. How I get in this?
Right.
Like, you don't even see us in the movie. Like we don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't walk down the street. We don't do shit.
Nothing.
Like yeah, yeah, yeah. They went there, and Tony called somebody else a monkey, but it wasn't a black person.
Right. It wasn't like that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was a totally different context.
yeah, yeah. Now I was just, and I've never noticed that before until I watched it this weekend. I just was like, ooh, yeah,
Yeah. Just that
yeah.
what do you call the Jack in the Box? It was Jack in the Box racism. Like
Hmm.
very unexpected.
Right, right, right. So, so yeah, so that happened. So, they have their conversation. Tony finally is
Yeah.
understanding what the man is saying,
Yeah.
and then the man going ahead and leave. And
Yeah.
then what happened after that
I
situation?
mean, there's that whole thing where they're counting the money and it's
Oh,
taking
yeah,
hours and he gets busted by the cops or whatever, and then he
yeah,
goes to see a lawyer and the lawyer's like, they got you. Be like, I
right,
can create a lot of doubt, but there was that $1.3 million on the table with the camera. Like, I can't make
yeah,
that go away, but we can get some things reduced, whatever. Tony is like really not trying to hear all that. Really.
right. Right, because he's like, I'm paying this lawyer. This is like the top lawyer in the world. I'm paying him all this money. Why am I still gonna have to do this time? So he had to kind of like put it in his head, like, this video is not good. Now
Mm,
I can get these other charges dropped, but or not
right.
dropped, but I can get you
Well,
acquitted.
right. He's
But
like, I can create doubt in the jury's mind.
right. Right, but they gonna come back in with that tax evasion. Then here come this tax thing again that the banker was talking about. And
Tried
it's
to
like,
tell you about.
Right.
You know,
Tried to
because he's
tell
thinking
you.
the banker's just being greedy, blah, 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 you know, whatever. It's
Yeah.
really interesting because Tony has a lot to say about the communist regime in Cuba. I don't know how much he really believes it because we do get, you know, hints that he was a criminal in Cuba too.
Hmm.
So I don't really know how much of his like hatred of the communist regime is genuine, or if he's like really just trying to impress, you know, the Americans. Like,
No,
oh,
I
so much,
think
you
it's
know,
genuine. I think it's
because
genuine because, and the
yeah,
reason why I say that is because I feel like he was a victim of his circumstance, and that's why he had to go to crime in Cuba, and now that's all that he knows.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I come from nothing, but I'm a victim as well.
Like,
You
do
know what
they
I mean?
really? I mean, does he really hate them because they're communists, or does he hate them because like they stopped his whatever he was doing? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, he
I
had
would
a
like some
scene.
more. I would like a little bit more, just a little bit more. You
Yeah. Well, he had a scene where he was talking about the communists, and he was like, you know, how they tell you what to do, what to think, where to go, and all this kind of stuff. So,
know. But how do you treat your sister and your wife, sir?
facts. But I feel
Seems
like
very similar to me.
true, but I feel like that's more the misogyny than anything.
Oh, I mean, we can have both. You know what I'm saying? Pork and toast. We got choose. But he also gets upset when Elvira calls him a capitalist.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, so what is it you want to be?
You gotta pick one. Like
Pick
you gotta pick one.
something,
Right.
because you're definitely taking advantage of the capitalist economy that's, you know, exists here,
Hmm.
and you seem to be like really ambitious about that. So why would you say that you're on one? How are you not one?
Right. Right. But I don't think he would have been able to flourish in his criminalhood, if that's a word, in Cuba.
Criminality.
Yeah. Right. Criminality. And I don't think he would have been
His
able to.
criminal career.
Right. I don't think he would have been able to peak his highest potential
Mhm.
in Cuba. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. Right. And I'm wondering if like that's why he hates them, or if something more specific that's like directly related to the actual communist regime happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then maybe
Like, because there
that's
was
how he
that.
got that scar.
Right, we never find out how that happened.
Right.
That
'Cause-
was so weird when he in the because that was like one of the first scenes of the movie where
Yeah.
he's in immigration and they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, how did you get that scar?" And it's like down his face, like it's very
Yeah.
prominent. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Did you get it eating pussy?" I'm like, "What? That is what?"
Right. Right.
But Tony also has the same reaction, like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
Right.
what? This is the weirdest thing. And apparently,
Yeah. It's
like
like
when
how
they,
you get a scar like that eating pussy, man?
what have you been doing, sir?
What kind of pussy you eating?
This is very weird. Like,
Right.
did you encounter some vagina dentata? Is that what's happening?
Right. Right.
Like,
Did it bite back? Like I don't understand.
right. Speaking of which, Teeth is a really good movie. I love that movie.
Oh,
Um,
I've never heard
but
that
in
movie.
the edit, oh, you watch it sometime. But in the
Okay.
edited version, they actually changed that to pineapple,
Wow. Eating pineapples.
which is only slightly more plausible, I guess, because pineapples do have sharp outsides. But
But you're
like,
not gonna get that type of scar.
no,
Right.
who's doing this? But
Right.
anyway,
Right. And I mean, and in that scene, he does say something about getting it as a kid, but he lied so much in that scene, we don't
right.
know if that's the
It's
truth or not.
right. It's giving, you know, Joker from The Dark Knight Rises. You know.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But we also have the scene where they have dinner. It's Elvira and Manny and everything, and Elvira's like, "I'm leaving him," because he's like, he wanted to have kids with her, and he's like, "You're doing all this coke. Your uterus is all dried up or whatever."
Oh
And I'm
wait,
like,
before we had the dinner scene, remember we had the bathtub scene.
"Oh yes," where she called him a capitalist, and he was like, "I'm not a capitalist." Blah blah.
Right.
You know. And first of all, we have this extremely large bathtub. You could
That's in
fit
the
like
floor.
10 people in this bathtub
Yeah.
that
And it's
is
in the floor.
surrounded by carpet. It is surrounded by
Right.
carpet.
I never understood why people put carpet in bathrooms.
Oh my
And
god.
I love carpet, but
Me
not in the
too.
bathroom.
I hate a cold floor.
Yeah.
but no carpet in the bathroom. We're not doing that.
No, that's
And it's not
gross.
even really a bathroom. The tub is in the middle of his bedroom.
Bedroom, right? Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
And they're just he's just taking a bath, and Manny's just sitting there in a chair, like I don't,
chilling while your
I
homie's bathing.
right. I don't know no straight like no shade. I don't know no straight men that would be okay with that. They don't care if it was a million bubbles in this tub. Like I'll wait till you get out. It's not that deep.
Straight or not, like, do I? Why are you in the bathroom with me? Like, I'm bathing. Like,
Yeah.
we're not significant others. Like,
Right. Right. Like what is this? Like
I don't need, I don't need a help with bathing or anything. So, it's cool. You can like sit outside, like if you want.
right. Like what are
Is
like legit what are we doing here?
what are we doing?
So yeah.
But he does make some good points in that scene, and also later in the dining scene where he's talking about like how all the other rich folks have also done terrible things to get where they
Mhm.
are. Right?
Yeah.
They've also stepped on people to get where they are. Their
Hmm.
actions have a great, a wide reach to do things that negatively impact people uh, in similar, if not same or long-standing ways as Tony, right?
Right, right.
Their hands aren't clean either.
Yeah, they're not.
Which is not a point I was expecting the film to make, but I was glad that it did because it still holds true to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
so
yeah.
yeah.
Then we
Yeah.
have that dinner scene and he calls her an infertile junkie or whatever, as if he's also doing cocaine.
He was loaded
That
at this point.
also affects your fertility as a man, my
Right.
guy. Like,
Right. And had the nerve to come for her womb. Had the nerve to come for her womb while you're loaded. That's the killer part. You did it while you're loaded. Like your sperm count is hitting
right.
5 million.
Like, you're
You
also not a
know?
junkie, sir. There were
Right.
two rules for you to follow. You broke 50% of them. It was not get high your own supply, Tony. That's all you had to do.
That's all you had to do. That's it.
Yeah.
And
But we see
you couldn't.
Tony's like increasingly more aggressive and like increasingly more paranoid, about people coming for him and everything. And he makes this deal with Sosa because
Yeah.
he did have a hard love for the. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
He was
He
very
did.
into it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Michael. I see
Yeah.
Mike.
Had a hard love
Um,
for the cocoa.
he did.
He
It was
definitely was
strong.
in love with the cocoa.
Apparently, what I heard was he was actually sniffing powdered milk, and it messed up his nose for a while
Mm.
because of how much he had to sniff.
And that's the crazy part about it because when you actually really look, he maybe snort. You maybe actually saw him snort one time.
Right, but there was so much of it, and I can only imagine like how many scenes, how many cuts. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then also Oliver Stone was actually addicted to
Yeah.
cocaine
Yeah.
previous to this movie. Like, he
Yeah.
apparently like went to Paris while he was writing on the movie, and he was
Hmm.
able to like get off of it. Uh,
Hmm.
but it's wild. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. Yeah. There's a when I bought the movie for myself is when the 20th anniversary came out. And when the 20th anniversary came out, it came with a documentary. And in the documentary, he did talk about his addiction. So, yeah, which that documentary was actually really good.
yeah,
It gave a lot of insight. One of the things that it gave insight on is that the actor that played Manny is actually Cuban, and he helped Al Pacino with his dialect.
I'm glad because I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
um,
So you
but
couldn't
then
tell me Al Pacino wasn't Cuban though.
I
Not back
mean,
then.
Right, but would I even know? Right, that
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably even really know. But you know, now he's the big chief and then whatever. So he's meeting with Sosa, and they've got like all these other heads of different companies or whatever
Hmm.
meeting, and they need this guy who's like going on 60 Minutes, you know, talking about the drug trade in Miami and Cuba and all the connections and stuff like that. They're like,
Hmm.
we need this guy to get gone. So we have somebody who's an assassin. He just needs a ride to New York. For some reason, Tony has to do this.
Yeah,
Um,
I think his reputation probably preceded himself,
yeah.
and they probably knew how much of a stone cold killer he was. But so, and that's somebody that they can trust, and they know that they can really trust him because he needed a favor too,
Mhm.
because the whole thing with his court situation, they can have that stuff cleared up because we're talking about the heavy hitters of the world. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying? That
very
are in
powerful.
this room that need this man to be dead. So they was like, well, this man we can 1000% trust, and all he got to do is take this assassin around New York because the assassin can't speak English. So I feel like that was a good and a bad situation,
Yeah.
you know.
So this
So
guy's name is Alberto, aka the Shadow.
yeah.
And what they want, they specifically want this reporter's car to blow up in front of the UN. Or was it UN
Mhm.
or NATO? UN has to be UN.
I think it was UN because that's where he did the speech at, right?
Right. Which just is like, I guess, sir. Like, that's just like very specific. It has to
Yeah.
happen right there. I don't,
I
okay,
guess to
fine.
send a
You know.
message to leave us alone. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, the message would be sent either way. If you blow this guy up, it doesn't have to actually be in front of the UN, you know.
Right.
But maybe it's supposed to be more of a, you know, we can touch you here, you at the UN where you think you're safe. I guess.
I think sorry. My sugar's dropping. I'm sorry. But but I feel like that's what they wanted to do. Because
Mhm.
there's some places where you feel that people perceive as untouchable,
Mhm.
and people sent a message saying, "Hey, you're not untouchable."
Right.
Like, unfortunately, 9/11 with the Pentagon. Who would have thought that somebody would have touched the Pentagon?
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could have got a whole. God forgive me for saying this because I don't want to give nobody no ideas. But you could have got somebody at a football stadium or something like that.
Yeah.
You probably would have got more people there than you got at the Pentagon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're trying to send a message.
But they trying to
So
send a message. You
you
know.
know,
So,
Alberto gets out there, puts that bomb under the car. They've been watching this guy, his habits for a while. So when he gets in the car and goes to pick up his wife and his kids, they're shocked because he had not been doing that. They have been taking separate cars.
right,
And Tony is like, I don't do wives and children. Like, we can't do this, you know.
right.
And he gets so anxious about it that he shoots Alberto before Alberto can have the car blow up.
Yeah. So I thought about that too, watching it over the weekend. And I was like, could he have really got his point across without having to kill him? And the answer was no, he couldn't have. That
Yeah.
type of person would have tried to kill him
Yeah, oh for
had
sure.
he stopped him.
Espe- yeah, and especially when you find out later that the UN found the bomb under the car.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
so there's no way they could do that again.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so like he's just Tony before that he went to New York was already an emotional wreck.
Yes.
So he was just basically like, I can't have this on my conscience. You got me messed up. And went on ahead and shot the assassin in the
Hmm.
car while he was driving with two people in the back. And nobody
And it
noticed.
somehow didn't bust the window open.
Did not bust the window.
Hmm.
Yeah. I noticed that too. I was just like, okay.
Interesting. You know,
Yeah.
at the same time, his like sister's missing, and his mom actually gets in touch with him to let him know, like, your sister's missing. I don't know where she is. I haven't heard from her in a few days. and
Hmm.
which is important because like his mother does not approve of anything he's doing. She even told him like, I
Not
don't have
at
a
all.
son. Like she
Right.
disowned him completely.
Which is so
So
funny because when your other kid is missing, now you know my number and you want to come call me now. So Michael says Tony Montana one lawless and don't give a fuck, then has some principles to them that are contradictory as fuck, given what he does and how violent to the core he is.
yeah,
I give you that. However, he's only been violent to men.
right. He's only been violent to people who are in the same trait,
Right.
right? And then the
Right.
whole like no wives and kids thing is also like a
That's a
gang
rule.
trope from
Yeah.
movies. Like yeah,
Yeah, that's a rule. And then especially considering this argument that he had with his wife and how he ain't got no kids, how that was part of the argument as well. Yeah, I could see why he was like, I don't want this on my conscience. No,
hmm
absolutely not.
I
You know what
don't.
I'm saying?
My wife just left me. I don't have no kids. My sister is missing.
Right.
you
Like the
know.
world is coming down. You know, I
Yeah.
might be going to jail. Like, no, I'm not
And
doing
see, this
this.
whole time, like Manny and Gina have been making eyes at each other, you know.
Hmm.
And Tony had told Manny specifically, like, "Don't touch my sister."
Right. And I feel, and I don't blame him 100% because if we remember Manny's track record with women, he is a ladies' man. He
He is a
runs
ladies' man, but I
through,
feel like he was just biding his time until he could finally get with her.
but we don't know Manny to be nothing else but a ladies' man,
That's true.
especially his best friend, which is Tony.
Yeah.
And like Manny said, when his sister tried to step to Manny the first time, he was like, Tony's like my brother and you're his kid's sister. Like
But
this
he's
ain't
still
gonna
he's
be good.
they still, you know, they can't help themselves. Like
Right,
they're
right. They
super
just
into
can't
each
help
other.
themselves.
And like I
But
get like Manny, I mean I get Tony not wanting his sister around, like the life and everything like that, especially not that close, right?
right,
Because then she
right,
could easily become a target.
right.
If well, she already is actually just being a sister, but
Yeah.
I get that. But his like he is violent with his sister because she's an adult doing what adults whatever she wants to do with her body. He does not like that.
Yeah.
For him, it's for his to control, and it's just, woo, right. So
Yeah. But
they,
you know, the one time that he was violent with her was that bathroom scene. At
yeah,
the end of the day, I'm not mad at him for being violent with her because she just was not
I
getting
am.
it. But she
He
was
could have been.
not getting it. Like,
But
girl,
the thing
you
is,
don't.
she still has to be able to make her own mistakes. She's a grown
I
woman.
get that.
Beat
I
up the other dude
100%
if
get
you
that.
want to, but don't beat up your sister.
But I 100% get that. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. However, I'm not faulting him either because you have got to make better decisions. I'm not gonna always be here. And girl, don't you carry your ass to no man's bathroom for no nothing. What the hell? Like, what
Was
are
it the
you
men's bathroom?
doing? She went into the men's bath. That was the men's bathroom. And
That
you
was
in
a
there
really
doing
clean
coke
men's
with
bathroom.
it was. It was. But you carry your happy go lucky ass into the man's bathroom with this man that you barely even know, and you're doing his coke. You don't know what's in his coke. You don't know what you about. You don't know what his intentions are with you, girl. If you don't
I
carry
think
your
she
ass,
knows what his intentions were with her. I think she was
but
aware.
but it could have went further. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you don't know what's in this cocaine. You know what I mean? Like anything
It's
could have happened.
probably Tony's cocaine.
It probably is, but we don't know because we don't know this guy. We don't know this guy, and we
But
don't know
still,
what he did
don't.
after he bought the cocaine. You know what I'm
Ain't
saying?
no
Like
reason to hit your sister. I'm not. I
she
can't get
was
with that.
not getting. He had to knock some sense into her. She was not getting it.
No, I don't think so. That wasn't right.
Nah,
I
and
can't. I
then
can't.
and
I
then she
can't.
want to pop up. Like, girl, are you
He's a
serious right now?
grown woman.
She a grown woman, but she doing some kid stuff, and she's
You gotta
making some
let her do
stupid
it.
mistakes.
You
He
gotta
had to
let her
not
make mistakes.
make them mistakes when I'm not here, but when I'm here, you got me messed up. So Michael says,
Yeah, I
yeah,
get
she
why he
went
was
into the
mad.
men's bathroom. Tony should have handled that differently, but I get why he was mad.
Yeah, I get why he was mad. I totally get that.
Nah, he
Um,
shit. Let that be my sister, and I'm right there. You going to the girls at my me and my sister's old age, girl. You ain't going into no men's bathroom.
I would hope you were not making the same decisions. You know, I would
Right.
hope.
No, we not
But
doing that.
she is twitty. Her frontal lobe is not fully developed yet, so you know.
Well,
But
shoot, that boy
anyway,
about to
they
be developed tonight because you got me
oh
messed up.
Lord, not if you hitting her, you causing brain damage.
Shoot, about to
Um,
knock that mug developed.
but they get back to Miami, and Tony tracks his sister down, in this like fancy house on some street, and
I feel like
Manny.
I feel like I was not to cut you off, but I feel like he knew as soon as his mama gave him that address, he knew exactly who house that was.
I don't know. I mean, because we had never seen like what Manny does outside of Tony, so
But for them to be best friends, I don't see why he wouldn't know where Manny
he
lives.
should. I mean, if Gina is missing and Tony is missing, I would have first.
Hmm.
Not Tony, but Manny is missing. I would have first gone looking for Manny because I definitely, as his best friend, would know where he lives. So
Yeah,
that would have
right.
been my first stop. But he gets the address from his mother anyway. So, but anyway, he goes there. Manny answers the door, and Gina like comes, is like in the background behind him, wearing like this nightie, with the robe or whatever. She looks very happy. Even Manny looks happy to see him, but Tony just is like he gets so enraged he can't hear anything, and this happens like a couple times throughout the movie. Like he's
And he
just
was
so
high.
focused. Yeah, and he was
Remember, he
high,
was
and
high.
he's just he's always high. He was focused on his emotions. He just can't
Hmm.
hear anything, reason with anything. He shoots Manny dead.
Yeah.
And his sister
He
is of
didn't
course
even let nobody
distraught.
explain or nothing.
Didn't Manny couldn't even finish saying hello.
He
Like
couldn't. He couldn't.
um and of course his sister is distraught, Jane's distraught and crying and everything, and she's telling him like we just got married yesterday.
Yeah.
And she's like,
And
we were gonna come by tomorrow to surprise you or whatever.
that's not the man that you need to surprise.
Yeah, I don't think Tony does well with surprises. That's probably
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
But they were probably just so happy about it. They did not think about it
Right.
that way.
But I feel like
Um,
I feel like they had no choice because they was not gonna get his blessing. He was gonna stop
right,
it at all
no. They
costs.
were gonna have to elope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so he takes her out of the house, takes him back to his place, whatever. And that's when you get him like at his desk with like these 16 monitors behind him, which we have seen, but he's like these 16 monitors behind him for security. And he's
Hmm.
got like these several kilos of coke on his desk, just open.
He busted the whole kilo
I
open.
mean, like several kilos. This is way more than one. This is at
Yeah.
least 3 to 5 kilos on his
Yeah.
desk.
Yeah. He had
And he's
literally
just
a mountain. He had Mount Rushmore on his desk.
this man is
That
sniffing cumulus clouds. Like he's got a whole weather
yeah.
system in his nasal
Yeah.
passages. Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
And you don't realize how big of a nose he got until all the powder is on it.
Right, he comes up with a little dusting here or whatever. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, he was gone. And then yeah, so then after he snorts half a kilo it just in one inhale, um they get Sosa on the phone. So Sosa heard that the man made the speech. So
yeah,
he's not thrilled about that. So he's like, okay, well, what happened or whatever. Tony tells him like, hey, he had his wife and kids. I don't do that. We'll get him next month. Dude's like, you don't understand. We don't have next month.
ain't no
They
next month.
found right. They was like, they have found the bomb under his car. So he has security up the ass. Like there's no that was our one and only chance to get him. And I told you don't fuck with me. And when he said that,
That was the first thing
whew,
he told him to.
yeah, yeah, and that set Tony into a rage. He couldn't even hold the speaker. Who the fuck you talking to?
He was like trying to beat him through the phone.
Right.
You know? I was like, Tony, this is your speaker. Calm down.
Right, right. So dude had to tell him like, yo, he ain't even on the phone no more.
Right.
So yeah. So later on in the evening, um, he then snorted some more coke.
I mean, that's all
He's
he's doing at this time. I mean, he's killed his best friend,
yeah.
stopped his sister from getting married. His wife
Sister
has
hates
left
him.
him. Sister hates him. His wife
Yeah.
left him. He has no children. Like,
hmm And he didn't fucked over Sosa.
yeah. Not only
Yeah.
Sosa, but at least like 5 other dudes who are very powerful.
Oh yeah, a room full of made men, boss men, like leaders of the drug world. He done fucked over a whole room of them. So
He
yeah,
might be going to jail.
right.
Like,
If he lives, he's going to jail. Like
right.
you know. So yeah, so he's snorting his life away, and he's sitting in that bomb ass chair he got in his office. So, so yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
then
So
we
all
start
of Sosa's
seeing,
men just like start
yeah,
coming on the property and just taking out all his security. And for whatever reason, Tony doesn't care about the TVs anymore. He's like
right.
not
He's
watching.
not even looking over there.
Right.
Like all this
And
stuff is going on. He could
what's
be
going on?
preparing himself, and no, he's too
Loading up
high to turn his
something.
neck.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so Gina actually comes in the room and she's high and upset, of course. And she brought
hmm
a gun with her. And she's mad because Tony has done nothing but try to control her life, to
hmm
the point of killing her husband.
Right.
Um,
Then
and
she
she's
leans
like,
into
"Why are
that
you
whole
doing this?
incestuous
Do you
thing.
right?" She's like, "Do you want to sleep with me? Is that what it is? Well, here I
Right.
am. Let's go ahead. Because that seems to be the issue here is that you want
Right.
to be the one. And she starts shooting at him.
Yeah. And she got him. She got him a
She got
couple
him a couple
times.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But then his
mind
dude
you,
turns
all
around with a machine gun and kills her. I was like,
no,
what?
that was one of Sosa dudes that
Was
got
that one of
her.
Sosa's dudes?
Yeah, that
Okay.
was one of Sosa dudes. Cause like while she's doing this or whatever, she's shooting, and they are surrounding the property, knocking out his people left and right. And so they're zeroing in on the building. So,
Mhm.
but there's shots that are going out of the building from her gun. So they just start firing off. And that's
Okay.
how they got her. So when they got her, that's when Tony realized, hey, I'm under attack. However, his sister just died. So he's trying to like figure out what's going on with her
Yeah. And
while
he's like
excuse
caressing her
me.
body and kissing her. And I'm like,
Yeah, he's like trying to do this to her face. Like,
mm,
come on,
make her
smile.
smile. Like it's
Right.
very,
Yeah,
very weird.
she's dead. So
Yeah.
so the little bit of security that he still got left is out there like trying to get him. I think that was Chi Chi that
Yeah,
was
trying to
at the
warn
door.
him. Mhm.
Yeah. So he's at the door. I don't know how the
No,
door
Chi
got
Chi is
locked.
like down. Chi Chi is outside by the pool, and he
So who
yells
was
up to Tony.
the one that died outside the door?
That
Outside his
was one of
office door.
Sosa's men.
No, remember somebody was banging on the door and was trying to get him, but the door was locked and he
Oh, I don't know.
watched him on the security die.
Oh,
Remember
I'm not
that?
sure. No, I thought
Yeah.
that was one of Sosa's men, but
No. Somebody was trying to get him. I think that was Chi Chi trying to get him.
oh,
Or
okay.
the Bruno Mars dude that you said looked like Bruno Mars. That might have
Hey,
been. I cracked up when I saw that tweet.
he does with the hat and
Yeah.
everything. He's
Yeah.
short. I'm like, is that Bruno? Is
Yeah.
that you, Bruno?
That did look like him. I think Bruno was born in 83. So
Probably.
yeah. It did look when you said it, I was like, yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. So that might have been Bruno, look, the quote unquote Bruno Mars. So
Right.
so yeah. So that's when he realized, okay, he's like legit under attack. So I need to go on ahead and act like I'm under attack. So that's when he goes to his arsenal and he starts pulling out these guns and he's talking shit in the process. And so that's when we get one of the famous quotes: "Say hello to my little friend." And
Rocket
he
launcher.
starts, yeah, and he starts firing off. And
He gets like 4 or 5 dudes right away. And the thing is, like,
yeah,
I'm while I'm watching, I'm like, he is on the high ground, right? And the way
mm-hmm,
they've constructed themselves is almost like, do you remember there used to be these toys where these like penguins would walk upstairs?
mm-mm,
Okay, well there were these toys where these penguins would like walk up the stairs, but it's
uh-huh.
only one at a time. And it's like that's not a great strategy. Like you're just leading yourself into one position with no exit.
Right, right, right.
Um,
Excuse me.
so he's able to get a lot of them that way. But they're also shooting at him and hitting him. But apparently,
Yeah,
Coke makes you so strong that it
yeah.
doesn't.
You have superhuman strength. You have,
And it just
especially he.
reminded me of some of the propaganda that came out like right after and during like Emancipation era and Reconstruction. And when it came
Mhm.
to like coke and cocaine, there was this whole stereotype with Black people, and they were calling cocaine crazy Negroes, and like it just made them super strong, and like but they just couldn't be stopped. Like yeah,
Oh wow,
yeah. Which is
wow.
why I was like, this feels like propaganda.
Yeah,
Like, they
yeah,
Swiss cheese this man too many times for him to actually have the strength to stand.
yeah. It wasn't a kill shot. And then remember, he snorted so much cocaine within a short time frame that he does
Yeah.
have that superhuman strength. Like I remember
I
watching.
mean, they weren't kill shots for sure, but he's been
Yeah.
shot by his sister and all these people, and you're telling me your hamstrings are still in working order?
Yes.
I don't believe
I mean, it's believable to me. You know
it.
that I didn't question because I'm like, he's high. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he were to come down, then that'd be something different. Um, Michael
He might
says
be
he was so
impervious to
high.
pain. I
Yeah,
get that, but I feel like some things would not work anymore. Just like have been, shot to pieces.
I'm maybe if it shattered something, but
Like a lung should be collapsed or something, like
they weren't chest shots. Like he
I'm
was
just
getting
saying,
shot on
something
the
is not your
side,
body is
and
no longer whole. There's something.
I agree. I agree. But he was the I feel like they really thought this scene through on where he was
Oh,
going to get hit because he didn't have no kill shots. It wasn't no chest shots or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they were leg, they were arm, they like stuff that you really ain't
something should
really.
be loose. He's got no injuries. I know.
Yeah,
But it's just fun to me to think about. Michael was
yeah,
saying, yeah, summing up in 80s gangster movies. That's how it worked during those days. Of course, that's true.
yeah,
It was just funny to think about for me.
yeah. Yeah, but I remember watching an episode of Cops where I mean I know it's a different drug, but this person was on PCP and he was butt naked. There was glass everywhere, and he fought about 3 or 4 cops before they finally was able to get him down on the ground.
That I can
But
believe. I believe that. Yes.
yeah, so so I mean it. This is logical. Like, unfortunately, this is logical.
Yeah.
So Um, so yeah, so we go through this whole amazing scene of him shooting the ops shooting him. They ended up shooting him to the point where he dropped his gun. So by this time, um the what do they call him? The guy with
The
the shades?
skull.
The skull.
Name
So
was the skull.
they have one main shooter.
The top
And
assassin. Top
right,
shooter.
the top shooter. He didn't climbed up from the back because this office had a balcony. So he didn't climbed up from the back. They came in behind Tony. So Tony is outside the office while he's shooting down on the ops. So he didn't shot all these people, lost his gun, but he ain't tried to like retreat, go get a gun, like try to pick up the gun. He ain't try to do none of that. He's still getting shot. He's standing up there, still talking his shit. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. And
His ambition. He's just always moving forward. He never looks back.
right, right, at all. He's taking them. He's straight up taking the shots. So the skull gives
Who
him the
looks
kill
like the
shot.
Terminator
He does look like the Terminator.
to the
Yeah.
point where because like they don't ever like introduce him as the skull or anything, right?
Hmm. I
I
didn't even
find
know
that
he
out
had a
later.
name. Yeah.
I found that out when I was googling him because what I googled was Scarface Terminator, and that's what came up was that guy.
Right, right, right. And you know what's so funny is that I equate that guy to Belly when they killed the dude from Jamaica, the
Mm-hmm.
original Don Dada. Remember when they killed him in his
Yeah,
house and he killed everybody, but then that female
but
came
that
down and slit his
girl,
throat.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So I'm like, that has to come from Scarface.
boss
But
fight. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Um, so he does the kill shot. So that stops him in his tracks and he falls down and there's like a little pool in his foyer
yeah.
that he drops down in and
So you get
he's
that dramatic blood leaching out into the blue water.
yeah, and he's face down floating. And so the skull and the remaining ops, they going ahead and they slowly walk down the steps and going about their business.
Mhm.
And that is 1983's Scarface.
Scarface. How many times have you seen this movie, Lindsay?
Whew, too many to count. But I have
20,
not. It's more than that because I bought it.
30,
Prob, probably maybe more.
50?
Yeah, well between 30 and 50 probably.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I freaking love this movie. Yeah. I mean they have some things in there that are like really, and then but it's not that much to where you'd be like, oh my god, this is terrible. So, but if you like gangster movies, this is 1000% a movie that you will enjoy. This will be one of the ones that's on the top of the list.
For
You
sure.
know. Um. Yeah. How did you feel about the movie?
I can totally see um, why so many people are fans of this movie.
Hmm.
It's even now, 38, 39 years on, it's still interesting.
Yeah.
It's still, even though it's still almost 3 hours long, you don't feel it.
Right. Right. Right.
Even though the action part doesn't really start happening so much until almost halfway through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Because it does have a slow start.
hmm.
It
but you
does.
don't, but it doesn't even feel slow. You
It
know,
doesn't. It doesn't because
I
it
was,
sets it up pretty well.
yeah, it does. I would love if they could do, like a movie, not a movie, but a TV show
You
where
don't
you
want a
can kind
TV
of dig.
show?
I mean, so you can dig more into like the characters, right? Because we have this past with Tony that we know just a little bit about, but not that much. And
Hmm.
then, like you were saying about Michelle Pfeiffer's character, like what was going on there? How did she get to this point in her life when she was like, "Well, this is just what it is."
Yeah.
You know, I think that
Um.
would be interesting. There are lots of incredible shots where they're using cranes and everything.
Hmm. Yeah, there were some good shots in this movie.
Yeah,
Michael says Lennox. It was from Scarface without shame. Only difference is old girl swooping down from upstairs to slit Lennox from ear to ear. Yep.
yes, yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, the impact this has had on culture, in particular, hip hop culture, is like
Yes.
you can't even put a number on it.
Yes. So the
Like, because I had
documentary that I
never,
have, the do-
yeah,
the documentary that I have that was with the 20th anniversary edition, they talk about that. And then also when they did release the 20th anniversary, they released a compilation album that is music inspired
oh,
from the
cool,
movie. So it's like a whole bunch of hip hop songs, which technically the compilation is not on streaming sites. However,
It was on
somebody
the
did a
playlist.
playlist on Spotify,
Yes.
and they have every song except the Cameron song, because Cameron song was a sample of the Yayo, that Yayo song.
Oh, yes. I remember watching that. That's like one of the first scenes where they're at the disco the first time, and they have
Hmm.
this song that's like "Give Me the Yayo." I was like,
Yeah,
"Dang, they were doing
rush
this in
rush to the
1980."
Yayo. Yeah,
Okay, right.
rush to the Yayo. Yeah.
I was like, "What kind of pop
So
song is this?"
right. I'm sure the song is on YouTube, but Cameron has a song called Yayo. And it's not on the playlist that's on Spotify, but it is on the compilation album. Me being a big fan of just hip hop music period and Scarface, I did buy the compilation album and I bought the 20th anniversary DVD. But also Scarface, the rapper Scarface, he got his name from Scarface, the movie.
Of course.
Yeah. And then he has an album called Balls in My Word, which is one of his best albums. It's the album that came out after The Fix, which was certified classic.
Yeah.
But Balls in My Word is a classic to me. That album is awesome. But yeah, he has like samples and stuff going throughout the album, and then the cover of the album is the Scarface cover, but instead of white, it's red, and
Mhm.
instead of Al Pacino, it's Scarface. So
That sounds good.
yeah.
I mean, but I mean, from songs and sampling to like you were talking about animation and like other films, like
Mhm.
it's touched like so many different parts of pop culture.
Yes.
The influence is undeniable,
Yes.
and
And
the
then
fact that even
also,
almost 40 years later, it's still entertaining and engaging
right,
is a real testament to the quality of the work that they produce.
right. And then also, I just found out because one of the times I watched it over this weekend, I watched it with a friend, and I was like, this will be a really good video game. And he was like, there was a video game that came out when the 20th anniversary came out on
Wow,
PlayStation 2. I did not know this. So I tried to look it up on eBay and they want too much for it. They want like $40.
that's
So
not that much, girl. You know, new
I
games
know.
sell for
Well, true. But I'm just like, this is used and it's on PlayStation 2. Why are y'all selling it for $40?
because they know you want it.
Exactly. And I still got my PlayStation 2 and it still worked. So I'm like really going back and
You,
forth on if I should buy it.
I think you should get it.
I was thinking that too.
I mean, you
I
seem
might
like
go
you're
on
wearing your
ahead and do it.
Scarface jacket and your T-shirt. Go ahead,
I
and get
know,
you a
right?
game.
I
Yes.
know. Let's go on ahead and look at my jacket again.
One
Yes.
more time to let them
Yeah.
know the impact that this has had on Lindsay's life.
Yeah.
The Scarface jacket is not a game. It's not a joke.
Yes. And the shirt. And I'm
And the
so
shirt.
mad because I still have my poster, my door poster of Scarface, and I wasn't able to put it up because I forgot to buy some tape.
Ah,
So yeah. So it's
we
upstairs,
gotta work
just
on that.
rolled up. I know. Yeah. Once I get the studio complete and I remember to buy tape at the store, it'll be up. But yeah. So but so let's go ahead and get to our rating system. So we have one movie real trash AF, two it exists, three entertaining, four great, five a true classic. Maria, what say you?
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 for all the reasons I listed previously, with the impact on pop culture still being very significant today,
Mm-hmm.
um, and throughout the years. Also, you can watch again now and still saying this is still a quality movie that has something to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and of course I'm gonna give it a five. Yeah, for all the above.
Couldn't
It's
expect anything less.
right, right, right. So I don't know. It just puts a smile on my face. I know
Yeah,
this it's kind of jacked up to say for such a violent movie that ain't really violent if you really think about it, but yeah, but the movie does put a smile on my face, you know.
yeah. I mean, we even have like South Korean rappers and members of BTS like
Hmm.
talking about Tony Montana. So
Right, right. Like if you put in just the name Scarface into the search on Apple Music or Spotify, so many things come up. Like there's so much stuff
Yeah. I
and
mean, there was
music.
that
Yeah.
that Lonely Island song that came out, Jack Sparrow, where it's ruined by Michael Bolton and he starts talking about Scarface. So yeah, I mean, come on. How could I give it
Oh,
anything less than a five?
right. I'm gonna have to look that up. I didn't know about that.
Oh man, I love Lonely Island. So
Yeah, yeah. So this was fun. This was fun. I'm so happy we were able to do Scarface.
yes. So next week we're gonna do, or next episode anyway, we're gonna do the movie Teeth. It came out in 2007. You can watch for free on Roku, Tubi, and Pluto. Do you
Okay.
want to give a trigger warning? It does talk about sexual assault and things of that nature. Um, but I really love this movie. So
Okay. All right. Well, I will be looking forward to it. And so, Maria, where can we find you?
you can find me on Instagram and Twitter for maybe a little while longer. I don't know how long because Elon just bought it. Um, but if you look up my name, Valor More Dollars, that's VALARMOR on any social media platform, I'm there. I also have a podcast with some other friends of mine. It's Five Black Ladies Talking Geek Stuff over in Nerdgasm Noir. So you can join us there as well. Where can they find you, Lindsay?
All right. Well, you can find me on all social media at L underscore Ranelle. That's L underscore RANELLE. Also have another podcast as well with my cousin and my friend called The Ish We Talk. And we just talk about just topics, trending topics,
Hot
uh,
topics.
hot topics. We do top fives. The last episode we did a top five Outcast song. So
What was
um,
your number one?
my number one was "Screw It on the Barbie." Skew it on the
Oh,
Barbie. Yeah, that was my number one. So I've always loved that song. But yeah, yep. Um, so yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Roomies. Please go ahead and subscribe to us. Follow us on social media so you can know when we're going live next. So you can join in on the conversation, either maybe through Twitter Spaces or through our live chat room like Michael did today, and we
Yes,
can interact with you. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. You can tweet at us or leave it in the form of 5-star reviews because we need some of those. So
yes, and we'll definitely read those 5-star reviews on the next episode.
100%.
Yeah. All right. So until next time, bye.
Bye.